What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Just got back from Canada for the LZ World Tour, the third stop, and that was a blast. I had so much fun. Canada did leave me a little bit under the weather, so I apologize if throughout this video I'm a little sneezy, coughy. I am starting this video off heading to the post office to drop off some poster orders. I still have some left, and I will leave a link in the description if you want to pick one up. But I'm very thankful and very grateful, and I appreciate every single one of you that picked one up. But stay tuned though, because the Century t-shirt that I've been working on for the past 2 months is going to drop in a couple weeks, and I am extremely excited for that. Boys, we are back in here with the NSX, trying to get this thing back on the road, and NSX Rack Repair came in clutch. Look at this. They friggin' painted it too. They cleaned it all up, got it nicely refreshed. I can't wait to put this back in the car. It's not the easiest thing to film, and I kind of documented it in the last video, but if you guys ever need anything for your NSX, definitely hit up NSX Rack Repair. They are the go-to guys when it comes to repairing these, as well as a couple other specialty items that NSXs need quite often to get repaired. I'll leave a link in the description to their stuff. They have a bunch of nice how-to videos on how to take these things out as well, which I'm gonna do the reverse of that and put this back in. Now, before we get into this video, I've always wondered what my ethnicity was, whether I'm fully American, if I have some English in me, if I have some Italian in me. I've always been curious, and because I have family in Denmark, I wanted to try and discover a little bit more. And that's where today's video sponsor comes into play, MyHeritage DNA. MyHeritage is a legal global family history and DNA service that makes exploring your family history easier than ever. It's a 2-minute process. It uses a cheek swab. You swab the inside of your mouth for 2 minutes, break off the tab, put it in their little capsule, and then send it off for shipping. One of the coolest things about MyHeritage is that they cover more regions than any other test out there. They can give you DNA matches, which can actually show you new relatives that you didn't even know existed. And the part that I'm most excited about, which is the ethnicity estimate, which is a percentage breakdown of your origins across 42 supported ethnicities and 2,114 geographic regions. Now, I sent my DNA test out a few weeks ago, and I just got the results emailed to me, so I'm very curious to discover what my ethnicities are, and we get to dive into that together. I'm gonna click on this, and we get to dive into this together. What do we got here? I know that I have some Danish in me. So 77.5% English, 12% Irish, Scottish, Welsh. That's interesting. I didn't know that. 8.2% Balkan, 2.3% Iberian. This is really cool. Okay, so the 77.5% English is obviously US, and then 12% Irish, Scottish, Welsh. Let's look at some DNA matches here. Okay, USA, Denmark, 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 second cousin, third cousin. There's so many pages. Holy crap, this is wild. If you guys are curious about your origins and your ethnicities and you want to try it out for yourself, you can click the link in the description and use my code DIVINEDNA, and that will give you free shipping. And as a bonus, you can start a 30-day free trial of MyHeritage's best subscription for family history research and get a 50% discount if you decide to stick with it. I want to give a massive shout out and thank you to MyHeritage for sponsoring this video. Now let's go fix the NSX. It's always such a good feeling installing like brand new looking refreshed parts onto something. Next up, reconnect the steering shaft to the steering rack, and then the tie rods, and put back all the bracing and battery and stuff, and this thing is good to go. I'll probably have to do like a toe plate alignment, get this thing squared back up, but that shouldn't take too long. But I'm really excited to have this thing back. Okay, well, the fresh rack is back in the car. The car is pretty much good to go. I just need to do the alignment in the front and the oil change, which thankfully when I first got this car, I was proactive and bought quite a few of these OEM NA1 NSX oil filters from Japan. So I'm gonna give this thing a quick oil change, and then I'm gonna take it over to the other shop and toe plate alignment, make sure everything is good, and this thing should be ready to rip. This goddamn diffuser trying to kill me. Dang, it's not a 14, it's a 17. All right, Honda, let's try to not get absolutely smoked in the face. Nice. the NSX turned into a Century. This thing is next on the chopping block for things to fix. 2 wheels, that'll be the next thing that I tackle in this video. Rebuilding 3-piece wheels. Weirdly enough, rebuilding what used to be factory 1-piece wheels that I had rebuilt and designed to be 3-piece, just like these guys. This is what they look like. They're absolutely beautiful. However, 2 of them have cracked barrels, so I'm going to be replacing the barrels, rebuilding the wheels. I got fresh tires, and it'll be a whole ordeal, but you guys can learn along with me. Last video, I asked you guys if you wanted to see a 3-piece wheel rebuilding video. This is your video. Let's get these wheels off, get these tires off, start building these.
Drove back to the house last night with the NSX, and I can successfully say that the clunking has gone away. It actually was not the power steering rack, it was the shock actually basically bottoming out and reaching its full droop every single time that I would hit a bump. So the suspension would decompress, it would reach its full droop, make the clunk, and then load would go back on the car and it would go away. The way I fixed it was I raised the front struts about 3/4 of an inch and then lowered my ride height pressure a little bit more so that there's more adjustment or more travel in the strut when it goes over bumps. Not really sure how I didn't catch that, but now I have a beefed up brand new power steering rack, or I guess manual rack, and no more clunk, and an oil change, so that's great. But now we're moving on to the next part of this video, which is fixing the Century wheels, which I had converted by Chamorro Boy a few months ago. Now I touched on it in the last video. 2 of the barrels cracked, was not his fault whatsoever. But today I got 2 brand new barrels courtesy of him, and we're gonna get these put back together. So I'm gonna bring these out into the shop and I'm gonna give you guys a step-by-step process on how we're going to assemble these, torque these, seal these, and get them ready for tires. So rebuilding wheels can be a daunting process for a lot of people just because it's a pretty important part to a car. You know, you want to make sure that your wheels are good, they're sealed properly, they're balanced properly, they're not going to leak air, you're not going to have any issues down the road. So you want to make sure when you put these together or take them apart that you do them properly. And it's funny because earlier today I actually warmed myself up by rebuilding one of Adam's LMGT1s that had a slight leak in the seal. So fully took it apart, reassembled it, torqued it, sealed it. This wheel should be good to go by the end of the day. So here's a tool list of everything that I use. Basically torque wrench, a little 3/8 gun here, a drill to help remove the old silicone, a ratchet to help hold the wheels from the bolts from the front so that they don't spin, and then obviously all of your hardware. Because these wheels were built very, very recently, the silicone is still pretty loose, so you can kind of peel it off just by your hand. But I'm going to use a razor to get rid of most of it and then go back over it with the wire wheel. Make sure that there is no silicone left on anything of the lip or the barrel. The barrel is brand new, so there's going to be nothing on it, but if you're rebuilding a used wheel, you're going to want to make sure both of these mating surfaces are perfectly clean. You don't want anything to obstruct in the middle because that could cause a leak in the future, and we don't want that. So I'm going to get all this silicone cleaned up, wire wheel both of these surfaces, make sure that they're good to go, and then we can go from there. So I have the face of the wheel held in by just 2 bolts right now. Basically now you would go around and you would put all your hardware in. For wheel specs for these wheels, they originally started out as 16 by 7 inch factory 1-piece Century wheels. I'll put a photo of them on the screen here the way they used to be. Now they are 19-inch wheels. They are 19 by 10.
And you might look at this and be like, that looks much bigger than 10 inches.
The correct way to measure a wheel is from the inside of the barrel lip and the inside of the outer lip. So you don't count edge to edge, you count from inside to inside, and that's the actual width of your wheel. So these barrels, they're 7-inch barrels. These lips, they're 3-inch lips. Put them together, the 10-inch wheel. Now this is the Spinna. This is from Aiden, the homie. He sent this to me a couple of years ago. It makes wheel rebuilding and refinishing much easier because you can just spin the wheel and just let it do its thing. So I've already gone ahead and put some of the hardware into the wheel. I use blue Loctite with everything that I do. Always good to use Loctite or some type of thread sealer. You don't want these bolts coming loose while you're driving. But I got these 8 bolts all tightened down, snugged up, just so that it pulled the rest of the face into the lip and barrel. Now I'm basically going around the entire inside, putting some hardware in there, putting a little dab of blue Loctite on every single bolt, and then snugging up the nuts. Once we get all of the hardware into the wheel is then when we start torquing them, which I'll show you guys a little trick for that. But from here on out, it's just gonna be a lot of bolt tightening. Okay, now I have every friggin' bolt in here snugged up. I believe there's probably 35 bolts. I didn't count, but incredible, crazy amount of bolts. I got them all snugged up. I only use this gun to snug them up. I don't torque them with this gun. I use a torque wrench for that. You should always use a torque wrench for that. Don't just gun these guys on. It'll weaken the hardware. It'll make your wheels sketchy to drive on. You don't want to do that. But now that every single bolt is in there with Loctite and it's all snugged up, I'm going to take it off of the Spinna and put it on the table, and we're going to torque every single bolt by hand to make sure that this wheel is perfect. I've got the wheel sitting face down. Got my torque wrench set to 20 foot-pounds. I have it set to 20 because obviously I have quite the long extension on here to reach these bolts. Usually you'd want to do around 16 to 18 pounds, but I like to do 20 just to be safe. That's not over torquing it. It's just me trying to make sure my wheels are tight. So once again, I'm going to slap you guys back on the tripod and you guys get to watch another time lapse of me tightening more bolts. It's not a fun job, but for someone that's learning about cars and learning about 3-piece wheels, it is smart stuff to understand and know. I know that quite a few requested me to make this video in the last one, so that's why we're here today. So first off, you like to start in a star pattern. Since this wheel doesn't really have a star pattern, I'll go off of the lug nuts. So I'll try and get this guy torqued. Okay, go over here. 2. 3, 4, 5. Now I just like doing the star pattern because if your face of your wheel is still kind of loose, it'll pull it up evenly, kind of like how you tighten a wheel on a car. It'll pull up the face evenly. If you go in a normal direction across everything, your face could kind of end up at a slant, potentially. I don't know. I always like to do the star pattern, but once you do that, then you can go around and hit all of them. So commence, a lot of tightening. So now that you have your wheel fully torqued, everything is good, it's time to seal the wheel. And this is probably my favorite part because it's very satisfying to do. You can do it without something like this. You can do it resting on the table, but I'm gonna get this thing prepped to get sealed. I got my nice tape line laid down, going all the way around the wheel. Got my caulk gun here. I'm gonna use Right Stuff. I've used other stuff in the past, but this has worked very well for me, so I'm gonna continue using it. And I'm gonna set you guys down on the tripod again, but you guys get to watch me lay down a really nice bead on here. A really nice trick to getting a perfect bead when you're done is to take a coin, either a nickel or a dime. I like to use the dime the most, and run the dime or nickel over the bead right after you lay it. It'll push the silicone deeper into the groove, give you a really nice uniform look, and then when you peel the tape off, it'll look perfect.
laid down. It's not the most perfect looking bead ever, but once it's dry, I can always take a razor and clean off the excess that's on the edge. But the main important part, which is the center, is perfectly uniform, nice and smooth all the way around the entire thing.
There should be no leakage from this guy at all whatsoever. So I'm gonna give this some time to dry. Because I'm using Wright stuff, it dries pretty quick, but I'm probably gonna give it a full day just to make sure before I put any tires on. And now I'm gonna take this guy, put him to the side, and do it all over again. This time though, it's gonna be one long time lapse. So get you guys geared up, sit back, relax, watch a little wheel rebuilding. It'll be cool. So now both of these wheels are finished. Gonna let them dry, and then I'm gonna take all the wheels and tires over to my buddy Eric so that he can help your boy out, get the old tires off, put the new ones on, and the Century can be back to where it needs to be.
Old girl's finally getting a proper alignment. She's a little fucked, but once again, Eric to the fucking rescue.
If you made it this far into the video, thank you. You guys are the real MVPs. And I got something very special to show you. Obviously the Century's back on its wheels again and it looks phenomenal, but I'm gonna give you guys a full reveal of the new Century t-shirt. I've been working on this for the past 2 months now. I wanted to make sure it was absolutely perfect before we released them. I got them in, I tested them. They're absolutely fantastic. This is by far the best t-shirt that I have ever done. Starting right off the bat with the blank itself. This blank is much, much higher quality than anything that I've ever put out. It's got a baggier kind of fit to it. It's a little bit thicker, true black. It's not gonna fade and turn blue over time, and I fucking love that. On top of that, instead of doing a print on the front, we did an embroidery. This looks so professional, so well done, and I will probably have to do this from now on in the future just because I love the way it looks so much. You guys can probably tell where this is going. This is a Low Cars High Standards style t-shirt to add to the collection of Low Cars High Standards stuff that I've done for the NSX and the LS400, but this is definitely the best one out of all of them. Next up, I wanted to do a personal little touch to this, and I added the Century's crest emblem as a tag for the sleeve, and it matches the Cars emblem on the front and the back. I think it's super, super cool. It's just this nice little professional touch that I love. I think the sleeve tag is probably my favorite part about this, just because it's unique and kind of cool. But let me flip this over and show you guys the back. Now for the back, I wanted to go above and beyond anything that I've ever done before for a Low Cars High Standards design, and I didn't choose just one, but 3 different angles of the car to have designed, and here it is. I think this came out so fucking good. Like, I don't know what else I could have done any different. I fucking love this. I'll probably be wearing this shirt for the next 6 months. I just can't get over it. Up top, obviously, we got the classic signature Low Cars High Standards Old English font up top, followed by a huge backdrop of the Century factory 3-piece converted wheel, and then 3
beautiful angles of the car.
The design was done by Nutsart. Once again, he's the homie. He did the original LS400 Low Cars High Standards design, and I've stuck with him ever since.
It came out beautiful, it came out amazing, and there's even one little subtle touch that we added to it in the print job. And the gold color in the back print is actually metallic. So if you were to actually hold a light up to it, it's got a nice little sparkle, even in all of the gold hardware going around the wheel. All of it has a nice little sparkle to it.
This is definitely my favorite shirt that I have ever made, and I hope you guys think so too. As for the drop date, I'm not entirely sure yet. If I do pick a date when this video goes live, I'll put it on the screen right now. But I have a feeling that these are gonna sell out pretty quickly. And if these do really well, I might release some hoodies with this design as well. With the sleeve tag, with the embroidered front, with everything, and they'll look amazing.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know that I said I wanted to try and upload as much as I possibly could, but
the past couple weeks, again, have just been extremely hectic. But I appreciate you guys sticking with me. And the next video that's coming out is one that we've been waiting for almost 2 years now. And I'm extremely pumped. It's about a car you guys have been asking about for a very long time. And we're gonna take the drive down tomorrow, actually, and go pick up the car. So I hope you guys are looking forward to that and the t-shirt drop, and I will see you guys in the next video.